Hello, my beloved friends. We are continuing our study this week. Wait on the Lord. Wait on the Lord. Today, bringing in the sheaves. What is a sheaf anyway? A sheaf was a stalk of grain that was put together with other stalks of grain and tied up. And at the end of a harvest, they would be brought in from the fields and brought to the barns where they would be stored and processed and used. So sheaves represent a lot of things. They represent the blessings that come at the end of waiting. You know, during a time of planting and when you are preparing the soil and putting down the seed and watering and doing all the hard labor it takes to get stuff down in the ground that will hopefully one day come up, there's a waiting period. You don't necessarily know how good the harvest is going to be, but if you do a good thing, if you do your job well in the planting stage and God works with you and God blesses, with good rains and everything, all of a sudden that harvest comes. Well, today we're going to study about that. And this is what's powerful about today's lesson. The people of God in Psalm 126 are remembering the blessings of the past. God had brought his people out of Babylonian captivity, and those in present captivity were remembering what God had done in the past. Read Psalm 126. They are talking about a blessing that God had done in the past and pulling it forward into the present, into their present experience as though it were theirs and it belonged to them. We've got to do that ourselves. Sometimes you've got to go pull something from the past that God has done, as I've said it before earlier in our studies, that our memories serve this function, that God gives us memory, not just to remember any and old thing that's all around us. He wants us to use our memories to recall his goodness in the past, bring it into the present, in our present circumstances and trials, knowing that he will get us through. Our study for today, Bringing in the Sheaves, talks about that. It focuses on Psalm 126, in which God's people look back in order to deal with their present challenges. But here's the wonderful thing. This psalm speaks to an agrarian society. They would understand streams bubbling up in the desert. In fact, right here in verse 4, the Bible says, the people say to God, God, bring back our captivity, O Lord, as the streams in the south. That's the south of Judah, where it was, primarily an arid desert region, but just about the time when the harvest was to be ripened and ready, streams would flow, rains would come in copious measure, and the whole topography would be transformed by this deluge of rain, bringing a bountiful harvest. That is the same thing that's going to happen before the coming of Jesus. When Jesus comes, he's going to pour out his spirit on his latter rain people who will then finish the work. And then the fruit of our labor, the blessing of God's salvific effort in the world, will all culminate in the new heavens, the new earth, the second coming of Jesus, all the things to which we look and wait. But we've got to wait for it before it comes. We've got to be faithful before it comes. But one day those sheaves will come in, and you and me, we're going to be some of those. May God bless us today.